Hello, everybody. Welcome to International Ball, National Team Ball in Action. Today's show is for Olympics 2021 FIBA Men's uh, event. We're going to be doing a pregame show with my good friend, Coach Paul Mokeski, on the next upcoming game, which is going to be Iran versus USA in the Group A action. Coach Mo, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great, Tom. How are you doing? Long time no see talk.
Sure. It's sure been a while since Canada. I think that was the last time I saw you here in Canada. And of course, you and I worked going back together at the William Jones Cup in 2015. Why don't we take a little bit back and sort of recap, because you coached at the William Jones Cup the U.S. Select team and played against the Japan, South Korea, Iran, and some of the local Asian teams out there. So, how was that experience in William Jones Cup?
It was a great experience. We had not the highest level team talent-wise, but we had a lot of guys, that played hard and wanted to win and did what they were asked to do. But, we were playing up against some great competition. That was the year, I think the national teams like Japan, Iran, Korea, they were all coming through in preparation for the Asian Games, I think. So they were pretty much intact. They didn't play their full lineups all the time, but they were starting to prepare for a real FIBA competition. So it was a great experience. And the arena, the hotel, the way we were treated, I still remember it very fondly. I just had a great time and got to hang around you a little bit more. So, we had many a breakfast, lunch, and dinner together after practices and the games, and really enjoyed talking basketball with you. And it was my continued experience with international play. I've been an assistant coach with Sam Vincent with the Jamaican national team in the Central Basket. And then I was an assistant with Chris Finch, and Nick Nurse was the other assistant on the Great Britain national team that we played in the Worlds. And then we ended up playing in the 2012 Olympics, which was another great event and a great experience in my coaching career.
That's you've had a fascinating journey. I mean, going back, you played 9 years in the NBA, another 20 years plus. You're very well journeyed in the coaching world from the G League all the way up, and of course that experience with Jones Cup has always been, one of my favorite things that I've done with you. Aside, when you came last and coached here in Canada, but we'll get into that a little bit more. First of all, congratulations to your team, Milwaukee Bucks, where you played for 9 years there, winning the NBA championship.
Can you tell her my team? I don't know. I played Milwaukee for 8 years, and both our sons were born in Milwaukee, and really have a heart for that city, the great people, and the organization of Milwaukee. It was great seeing them finally get back to the finals. Something that in the 80s on the teams I played, you see over my shoulder, we just ran into Philadelphia with Dr. J or Larry Bird with the Celtics. I think that's me dunking over McHale. But, we just were unfortunate. We could never get past the East Finals into the NBA Finals. So it's really great to see that team and that organization and that city. I mean, 65,000 people showed up just to watch a screen outside the arena. That's just amazing. Kind of reminds you a little bit of Toronto up there, doesn't it?
Yes, indeed. Toronto has been long and up and coming. Just Canadian basketball in general has been growing tremendously since the arrival of the Toronto Raptors, going back since 1995. But yet there was another league that you coached up here, which was the NBL Canada. You coached the Moncton Miracles, I believe it was then, right? Or
Yes.
Moncton Magic.
Moncton Miracles, I believe. Yeah, I coached them for 2 years. in NBL Canada, a real good league. It's struggled over the years like a lot of minor league basketball does. But what was mind-boggling to me is there is, the NBL Canada was the only other legitimate league in Canada. So I thought it would get more play and TV time. Now I think they have the CEYL, something like that, another competitor. But when I was up there, we played in arenas. We played the players pretty well. Really good basketball. I told NBA people and G League people, the players up in Canada, Americans and Canadians, can play this game. I kind of equated it to a smaller version of the G League, where our centers were 6'8", 6'9", and we had smaller guards, which you don't see much in the G League. Really, you have 7-foot centers, but very talented. Moncton was a great city. Really, really, really cold and a lot of snow, but really good people, and enjoyed my 2 years up there.
Yes, indeed, and of course, while during your stay there, I think now that we're about to get into this conversation of Olympics and the U.S. and other teams that are playing, especially such as Iran. You saw another player, Mike Rostampu. What was your take on his game and how he's grown in terms of making the transition to use the second passport to play for the national team in Iran?
I really liked his skill level. I liked him. He has a pro body. He can do a lot of things. He can shoot the three. He can put it on the floor. He can be a very good rebounder if he applies himself a little more. I thought that he was right on the cusp of being able to really make the step up. And sometimes players don't realize a lot of times that's the little things. That's playing better defense. That's playing better up here with basketball IQ. That's doing the little things, diving on the floor, and that will get you where you need to go if you have the talent and an NBA body like he had. And it's good to see him on the national team playing, some minutes now. But anytime you can play on your country's national team is an honor and a privilege.
Yes, indeed. You having seen a talent like that, and then obviously Iranian Federation taking full advantage of the FIBA naturalization law to be able to acquire such level talent that is really a U.S.-based product, but because of the passport is able to play for the national team. Hence why I think has been a key factor in terms of helping them in the previous World Championship as well as now the world, in the Olympics, the biggest stage of the world. But now talking a little bit about the U.S. I mean, the U.S. That they're playing in Group A. They're in their preparation. They've been very slow and really, with the losses that they had against Australia and Nigeria. And just as of recently, France. How do you evaluate the current U.S. team?
Well, I had an opportunity to actually watch them in person last Sunday here in Las Vegas. I live in Las Vegas now, and I watched them. I got to go to the team. They played Spain here, and part of the U.S. Problem, if you want to say, is number one, they don't have the A team here. I mean, there's no LeBron, there's no AD, there's no Harden, there's no Kyrie, there's no Klay Thompson, there's no Steph Curry. So really, it's not the A team of NBA pros USA. But at the same talking, their talent is out of the. Their roof is unlimited, and they have the talent to win a gold medal and beat all these teams. However, a couple of things really affect what happens. Number one, they don't have a lot of time to prepare with each other. So they're running into a lot of teams that have played together. Australia has played together for a long time. Spain has played together for a long time. France has played together for a long time. And actually, with the COVID situation, they only had a short 2-week camp here in Vegas, and I don't think they were able to practice even every day in that 2 weeks. So, they're trying to get used to each other, used to the game, used to the refs, and But at the bottom line is, international teams are not afraid of a team that goes out there with USA on their jersey. They're not afraid of that anymore. That used to be the case. You have Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, all these other, the dream team, and you come out with a USA jersey, the other team wants to take pictures with you, not necessarily play you or beat you. Well, those days are long gone. And most of these teams, especially in the Olympics, have between 3 and 6 players that have played or are playing in the NBA. So they guard these guys, they score against these guys, they're not afraid. The other thing is that's different with USA basketball is with the national teams, Iran and Australia and Spain and Serbia and France. These players grew up as children wanting to play for their national team. That was the goal. If they could play for the national team, win the Worlds and the Olympics, that was their championship, period, end of story. In the U.S., that's not true. All the young players in the United States that are come up, they want to play in the NBA and play for an NBA championship. And that really shows on what happens and what players are willing to do, on the floor. One last thing is, the U.S. team, even though over the years they've tried to get better at it, there are a lot of superstars. They're made up of superstars. But as we know, when we watch Phoenix or we watch the Bucks, the superstars, like Giannis and those guys are important, but so are Lopez, Tucker, Cogniton, Ayton. All those guys that are role players are so important to a winning team. And I think sometimes that's what the USA is missing, is a team concept. But all that said, quite frankly, their pool is not very strong, I don't believe. I think they'll win the next 2 games and qualify for the medals. They just got to get their act together. I think they threw in, I know Booker, Holiday, and Middleton all flew in the night before the game, all the way from the United States to Japan. And Holiday was very good. Didn't shoot great, but defended and passed the ball. Booker struggling with his shot like he was, and Middleton didn't get to play a lot at all. And when Kevin Durant is struggling for Team USA, they struggle to score. So someone like Middleton who can score could be a big factor in that. So I can see him getting more and getting their feet under him the next week and the next 2 games. And then really the team with the most talent that I think, can really upend them is Australia. Now, Team USA can lose to anybody there. They can. I don't think they will, but Team Australia is really powerful, really strong. Spain, I saw they're getting older. They're not what they were. Obviously, we saw Argentina. They're getting older. They're not what they used to be. France is very good, but they're not as talented as USA. So I believe if they can get their act together, they should have a team meeting and say, hey, we're here. We did all this sacrifice. Let's go out and kick some butt and win this gold medal. Because I know for sure if I'm Middleton or Holiday and I left Milwaukee party town to fly all the way to Japan, I want to win a damn gold medal, not no silver or bronze.
Yeah, yes, indeed. I mean, with that grueling NBA schedule, you're talking about 82 games, and especially during COVID-19, and then further extending into the playoffs. Of course, it takes its toll physically, emotionally, psychologically on the player. But what is what I mean? How do you what do you think has been the problem in terms of the inadequacies for the U.S. team to being able to play the best possible that they can?
Well, I think like I watched that game against France, and they had the game under control. They were up by 7 with 5 minutes left, and Booker was at the free throw line, and he missed 2 free throws, and a couple fluke things happened. A player from France dove on the floor, saved the ball to I can't remember. Fortney, and he hit a three at the shot clock, and then the USA went down, and KD had a wide open top of the key jumper, he missed it. Holiday had a corner jumper, he missed it, and then they went down and scored. So it turned around really fast. So they got to understand that they have to make the hustle plays and the 50-50 plays and not let the other team do it. So they have to find someone to do that. Jrue Holiday is one of them, but they need more. They need more of those guys. And quite frankly, I'm, the way they put the roster together, kind of it kind of mind boggles me a little bit. I mean, we know that international basketball, you have to have size to bang with them, but you have to have shooters. You have to have guys that can make threes in bunches. And if you're leaving, like USA is left Buddy Field, that's a great three-point shooter. Duncan Robinson from Miami. Joe Harris from the Nets, who kills the three and can play all positions. And you take someone like Jerani Grant, who's a 6'6" hustle guy, but now you got Jrue Holiday. I think some of the roster decisions, need to be rethought a little bit. You bring JaVale McGee in, and let's face it, for most part, the best big players in basketball in the world today are not in the United States. They're not Americans. I mean, you're looking at Giannis, right? Nigeria, Greece. The Joker is Yugoslavian. Embiid is from Cameroon. Rudy Gobert is from France. Porzingis, Sabonis, Ayton is from the Caribbean. Nurkic. They're all playing in different countries. All the bigs play in different countries when you think about it. So if the USA team doesn't have LeBron, who's really at 6'9", 270, he's a big. AD, who's a big, they really lack in that area. And Gobert really took advantage of it with France. So, I think they really have to rethink of how you construct the team. But more shooters, and you got to find, when you look back, it's interesting. Brook Lopez was the big a couple years ago for the national team, and he's not there. So, that's interesting too.
Yes, indeed. Okay, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna come to a half time part of our show. Just I'm gonna do a quick promotional item for myeloma, a cancer disease that has affected many people around the world. Be right back after this. So if you just tuned in, I have the great pleasure and honor to have my good friend, Coach Paul Mokeski, longtime NBA vet, here with me talking about the Olympics 2021 in Japan, talking about the Iran versus USA pregame show. But before we continue our show, I want to share with you a little bit about myeloma. Myeloma here, which is actually called multiple myeloma, commonly referred as myeloma, is a blood cancer that is associated with abnormal behavior and uncontrolled growth of the type of a white blood cell, which is called the plasma cell. Plasma cells are made in the bone marrow, spongy tissue found inside bones, and are part of an important component of the body's immune system because they produce antibodies. In myeloma, abnormal plasma cells, also known as myeloma cells, interfere with the production of normal, healthy blood cells in bone marrow and overproduce inactive clones of abnormal antibodies that can negatively affect different parts of the body, such as bones and kidney. The cause or causes for myeloma remain unknown. If like to donate, please feel free to check out myloma.ca and donate, as has affected a lot of friends, family, colleagues, everyone. So our hope and wish is that there is, while there is treatment for cancer patients, our hope is that there is someday they will find a cure for myeloma. Now, Coach Mo, let's dig in a little bit deeper into the game that's going to be played tomorrow.
Well, first, Tom, I want to tell the listeners out there that your wife is going through some struggles now with the cancer, and she's battling it, and she's going to come out great at the other end. But that all our prayers and wishes and good wishes are with you and your family at this time.
Thank you, Coach Mo. I really appreciate you. I appreciate your support. You've been a longtime friend, and it's been always a privilege and pleasure working with you and just learning from you. And so thank you for that. Continuing on about the basketball. So tomorrow being, again, another game. I mean, we're not going to get into the politics of it. We're sportsmen. But we want to talk about, the game tomorrow. We want to take a deeper dip into the roster of the teams, Iran versus USA, and let's go back. I think you, like I said, coached the U.S. team in William Jones Cup in 2015. You beat the Iranian team without Hamid Haddadi, the big 7'2" center that played 5 years in the NBA.
You don't have to say that, man. Come on.
We did beat them without the big man. I think it would have been probably a little different game, but I think Coach Dirk Baumann, a master tactician who was at the helm there against yourself, NBA vet. What was your take in terms of what you saw at the game there, and how did you? I mean, with such a short time that we put the roster together. In such a short time that we didn't even have any practices, and you were at the helm, and you had a tough time putting together plays, sets. Anyway, I mean, all you had was players that you're literally making on the go as we play the games. So, what was your impressions coaching against Iran and Dirk Baumann?
Well, I knew a couple things what we wanted to do because we had 2 practices maybe or whatever it was. So I knew we needed to keep things simple. So simple plays, simple actions, and defense, we need to keep it simple. I threw in a zone because I knew, we were not the biggest team, but we could play in a zone, and especially if we were going to play Hamid, we knew we would probably have to play zone against him to keep him out of the paint. So, and actually that turned out helping us against a team without him. We just try to keep it simple. As a coach, you want to get your players in the best situations you can on offense and defense. So on offense, you want to get them in the areas they're successful. You want to show them how to play and how to make their teammates better, share the ball, be unselfish, play smart, make limited mistakes. Basketball is a mistake-ridden game because it's high pace, it's fast. Mistakes are everywhere. The team that makes the least mistakes usually wins. If you look at the game that Iran played against Czech Republic, Iran had 20 assists, which isn't bad, but they had 21 turnovers. So that's giving the ball up to the other team so they can score and get more opportunities. So when you can limit that by keeping it simple, that puts you ahead of the game. And also on defense, you just keep your guy in front of you, help when needed, and then rotate hard to shooters and make them drive.
You see some of the players that were on that much younger in 2015. Now they have sort of grown a little bit more and have become more experienced. But looking at them as a talent, how do you evaluate their potential upside? With the current roster that they have?
Well, I think they're. I haven't seen them play a lot. I think they're 23 in FIBA, moving up in the right direction. Um, like I said, I think the turnover factor is a problem. I saw. Um, not sure of who the gentleman was that played. He had like 7 assists, but he also had 7 turnovers. So you really have to get the point guard situation or whoever's handling the ball. You need to get that set and really scour the country and maybe naturalize someone that can play point guard to make the next step. Because I've coached with the national Jamaican national team for 2 years with Sam Vincent. We went to Central Basket and finished 5th there, and then I went to Great Britain and coached on that team for 3 years with head coach Chris Finch and assistant coach Nick Nurse. And we ended up, our last year was in the 2012 Olympics, and we got to play in the Olympics. And what I know is, talent-wise, they can run, they're athletic. They need to get better shooters also, because I'm looking at their stats, and if they only shot 20% from the three in the last game, and that's not very good. But another thing that I would look at is I think they only shot 19 threes. So that's good that if you're not a good three-point shooting team, you don't shoot a lot. However, if you're going to survive in FIBA at the highest level, you have to find better shooters and you have to shoot more threes. Czech shot 30 threes. So, you got to get that mentality and you got to find shooters or you can't really create a shooter, but you can encourage them. And by that, I mean all off season, every practice, you should be shooting active, game time, game speed, shooting drills. Full court, half court, shoot, 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 shoot some more. And that's how you become better and a better team that way. So you got to limit your turnovers and you got to become better three-point shooters and shoot more threes. You're not gonna win a FIBA game if you shoot 19 threes or whatever. You're just not.
Indeed. But from a coaching perspective, I mean, what do you think in terms of having watched maybe the previous game against Czech Republic? Actually, I watched Czech Republic beat Canada here before they got qualified, and we were so stunned with all the NBA stars we had.
That's another subject.
Exactly. No, we'll do another round table or another show with you on that one. But it's not so much. It seems it's not so much about having talented individual players, but also the team chemistry, how well you play together, how well you're experienced to play as a team, because you have to execute.
Well, I would question, and I watched part of the game and looked at the stats and stuff. And my first question as a coach would be, why can we outscore Czech 34-18 in the fourth quarter, 32-17 in the fourth quarter, and why don't we do that for the first 3 quarters? What's our problem? And as a coaching staff, I go back and break down that film and see why we started off slow. First quarter, we were bad. Second quarter, we were still behind. Third quarter, we started to get a little better. Fourth quarter, we overpowered them. So we want to do what we did in the fourth quarter, not in the first quarter. So how do we fix that? Maybe it's a defensive scheme. Maybe it's offensive plays or sets. Maybe it's a lineup change. Maybe you can find a group of 5 guys that play well together, and you got to play them for more minutes at a time. So all those things can go into effect. And I would have done that right after the game and really had a film session with the team and showed them this is our mistakes in the first 3 quarters. Let's watch it, see who's doing it. What are we doing? Why are we turning the ball over? Is that unforced? Why aren't we playing better D? And then at the end of the film session before practice, I would show them the fourth quarter, all of it, and how good we did, and how we outscored them 32-17, and how we can play. This is how we want to play. This is us. This is what we can be. Now we have to go out and do it. That's what I would do.
Are you convinced with the leadership in coaching as a head coach, how the Iranian team playing at such a high level of tournaments like Olympics, the top 12 teams in the world where they're competing Are you convinced with the coaching direction of the Iranian national team selecting a local experienced coach?
Well, I don't know the situation. I don't know the coach. I don't know, but I do know that. Let me put this to you: Nigeria has been in the Olympics before. Nigeria has been a high competitor of a lot of tournaments before. Nigeria has never beat Team USA till Tony Brown took over. Mike Brown, I mean, Mike Brown, a former NBA head coach, a current assistant head coach with Golden State, a guy that knows what he's doing, players trust him, and he knows how to win. So, I mean, I know that the Great Britain team was never as good as when Chris Finch was the head coach and Nick Nurse and myself were assistants. So, it's a tough subject because I know a lot of countries want to keep it international, keep it local, but at some point, if you want to go to the highest level, you got to really evaluate what's happening. Are they competent enough to win games at the highest level? Are they competent enough to bring in the players you need? Because one thing that Chris Finch told me from day one in Great Britain is he said, Coach Mo, one thing as an international coach, you got to get the best players in to be on the team, and then you got to keep them healthy. That's what you got to do. And so that's a big part, too, of how you can get the best players in your program. Once again, I'll go back to Nigeria. Mike Brown is respected in the basketball world everywhere he goes. So you see the best Nigerian players playing now. How about this? I don't know if this will happen, but there's some guy that's part Greek and part Nigerian. His name is Giannis. How about next in 4 years you get him in your program? Someone like Mike Brown can do that, and that puts you in the medal rounds right away. So, I mean, it's a tough subject. Coaching's a tough business. At the very least, I would encourage international programs to bring in, even if they're not assistant coaches, someone to come in with a different set of eyes, some different ideas to throw around. I'm here. I'm available.
Yes, indeed, and you would be a tremendous asset to any of the federations that are out there looking to use, all your experience and expertise, your knowledge in the game is second to none, Coach. I personally experienced and learned a lot.
And sometimes it's someone coming in from the outside and seeing different things. Sometimes it's throwing some stuff out that you hadn't thought about, and a couple little things can get you over the top and get you where you need to go.
Of course, you've acted as consultant to a number of teams on the sidelines, behind the coach's bench, no?
I mean, I've been in China, I've been in Korea, I've also been up in Canada. I love to do that. And, sometimes coaches have to set aside their egos or their pride a little bit and say, hey, let me bring somebody in and listen to him, see what he has to say. I don't have to do anything if I don't want. But if I see something that, hey, that addresses a problem we have, like with Iran. Hey, he's got a couple drills we can do that help us become better three-point shooters. Hey, he has a couple defensive schemes that can help us get turnovers and limit our turnovers. Sometimes that can get you above, over the hill.
I guess you're as a coach, you're as good as the players you coach or the players that are available to you. But I mean, at this level, it seems that I think everybody got to bring it to the table. So not only just the players, but also coaches have to be well versed in terms of all possibilities. To maybe comes to a game time situation, you got to pull up the sleeve and play a magic trick.
Or have someone that scouted the team that knows what they're going to run in the last second of a game. I've done that before. So you're on top of it. You know what they're looking for. Just think of the NBA Finals this year with Milwaukee and Suns. I mean, there's a couple plays that could have gone either way, and the Phoenix Suns could be celebrating the championship. Just think if KD, his foot is not on the line in Game 7 in Brooklyn against Milwaukee, they win the game and they're playing the Suns. So little thing, I always say, you probably heard me say it years back in the Jones Cup, little things make a big difference, and they do.
Indeed. Just for friends that are joining us, I'm here with Coach Paul Mokeski, longtime NBA vet, and we're talking about Olympics in Japan and talking about Iran versus USA, the upcoming game. I believe that's which is about probably about no more than about 16, 17 hours tomorrow at about 1:45 Eastern time. That's local time here in Toronto, Canada. Feel free to look it up at your local Olympic channel. Coach, could there be any surprises at this game?
Well, the other thing that bothers me a little bit about USA basketball is their NBA players, their NBA style. They're used to running a couple actions, quick hit action, and then catch the ball and either shoot it or go one-on-one. That's not FIBA basketball. FIBA basketball teams run through their sets and motion and movement and ball movement and player movement. So a team like France or even Iran that can do that and do it at a consistent level, you can surprise people. And with Hadid as the big who can score, block shots, take up the middle, and is a really good passer, with all the handoffs and all of that stuff, you have to have all the stars lined up. You can't turn the ball over 21 times, forget about it. You got to shoot more than 19 threes and make more than 20%. But all that can happen, and things can happen. But there's specific things you have to focus on to make that happen. And that's what coaches and players, have to do.
Of course, Hamid Haddadi, 7'2". I believe he's pushing 34 years old, played in China successfully. He's been playing there many years, a consistent 2010 guy, is the biggest asset to the team. Not only, I guess his shot blocking, rebounding, defensive capabilities could be an asset, not only against U.S., but other teams. But how much of that at this age could be a factor to be an asset for the national team?
Well, I think he's 34, 36, something like that. Look at, I saw Spain play this past weekend in here in Las Vegas, and, they had the Gasol brothers, and they're getting up there, and they're still very effective. So I think because of the shorter game, it's 10-minute quarters, that's 8 minutes less than an NBA game. So that really adds up, and that's a big difference. Some of it is that's why the USA struggles a little bit, because the game is shorter. You don't have as much time to make up for mistakes as you do in an NBA game. So, and as a player, you don't have to be a star player. You don't have to play 38 minutes. You can play 29 or 30 in a FIBA game and still be a big impact on your team. So I think age is less of a factor in FIBA basketball than it is in the NBA, in my opinion.
Yes, indeed. Clearly it's shown because he has been an integral part of the team and tremendous asset in terms of helping the team qualify for this level.
At the same time, you can't, as a national team or any team really, you can't get old at the same time. You can't have all your players get old at the same time. So you really want to bring your young, as a country, you need to look at your 15 and unders, your 16 and unders, your 18 and unders, and you got to really see who you want to move up into your program to become part of that program. So, Iran should be looking at those players and giving them a little taste here and there. Bring them to training camp. Even though they're only 16, bring them to training camp, get them around the older players, and then you can have a better, smoother transition. And quite frankly, those players will end up turning out to be better, more talented than your older players are now. That's just the nature of the game. That's just the nature of life.
Yes, indeed. I'm going to play our website for fans that just joined us. I'm here with Coach Paul Mokeski. Please like, comment, or subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free. Let us know. We have Coach Mo. We can use his expertise to answer your questions right now. But we'll be right back before this. Coach, in terms of tomorrow's game and moving on in the tournament, what advice would you have for the head coach or just team that is going to be well in position to hopefully to play a few more games of this experience?
Well, I know when I was with Great Britain preparing for the 2012 Olympics in London, we played a friendly game with the United States in Manchester. And I remember doing the scouting for that game and watching the United States. And you're talking about LeBron James and I think Kobe Bryant and all those guys. And I remember watching them have a game against some other team, and they were just pressure, full court, steal, dunk, pressure, full court, steal, dunk. And I remember telling our guys, listen, we have to find a way not to turn the ball over, execute our offense, take time off the clock, and make USA shoot jump shots and not easy dunks, lob dunks, drive dunks. Let them not make them work for their baskets. And I remember at halftime coming into the locker room, and I counted dunks, and at that point they had 25 dunks for 50 points at halftime. And at that point, as a coach, I said, "Well, maybe this isn't going to happen."
Of course, key elements make them earn it. At best is that how do you stop? How do you get Kevin Durant to earn it? I don't know, but I think that's your job as a coach.
Well, you have to get in him. You have to make him work, much like the Milwaukee Bucks did with Chris Paul, all in the finals, right? Holiday guarded him most of the time and picked him up almost full court, which in the NBA is unheard of. No one does that. So what that did is made him work. He couldn't just walk the ball up and just get in the offense. He had to turn. He had to move. So every fourth quarter, that wears on your legs, and in a 7-game series, it does. So Iran needs to think about that and make Kevin Durant work on defense as well as offense. You can put him in pick and rolls, run him into Hadid, see if he likes getting hit by that big body. Stuff like that. Will really wear on the other team. And if I'm Iran, I'm really breaking my time down to about every 3 minutes. I want to play good for 3 minutes. Just play good for the first 3 minutes, then the next 3 minutes, and then we'll go on from there. If you can just play, don't worry about the quarter, don't worry about the game, don't worry about the medal round, just worry about these 3 minutes. That's it. And then you just grow from there. And then maybe we have like a 37 to whatever, 32 to 17 quarter like we did last game. And now things change. If you can make USA sweat a little bit, feel the pressure a little bit, because don't think they don't feel the pressure. In the United States, every sports show on ESPN and any other channel is talking about United States losing to France. And what's wrong with the United States? And what's wrong with Popovich? Why isn't he a good coach, even though he's won championships and he's a great coach? What's wrong with KD? What's wrong with everything? And don't think the players aren't thinking about that. So if you can come out in the first quarter, put a little pressure on them, God forbid have a 2 or 3 point lead, they're going to start thinking about that. And then you never know what happens.
I sure will be tuning in. Of course, last time Iran played USA was in the World Championships in Turkey, and they were blown away by 55 points. But nevertheless, we wish both teams good luck and continued success. Ladies and gentlemen, we Coach Paul Mokeski, longtime NBA vet, currently free agent, correct? Available to coach and act as a consultant.
Consultant scout. That's what I do.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for doing this with me, Coach. I look forward to inviting you for many more.
Anytime, Tom. We talk about the medal rounds when they come around. Enjoy talking basketball with you. Enjoyed being with you.
Look forward to it. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.